the NFL Super Bowl futures. That's what I want to highlight a little bit early here. So again, you can get this if you go straight to dimers.com/futures. And it's just sorted in probability format, the teams most likely to actually win the Super Bowl. The Ravens, 15.4% probability. They are the most likely Super Bowl champion, according to our model. Next up is the Bills at 12.1%, and then the reigning Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles, at 12%. There is a consensus top tier of those three teams, and there is no other team in the NFL with a greater than 8% likelihood of winning the Super Bowl, according to our model. But the further down this list you go, you can start to identify a couple teams that might be worth a long shot sprinkle ahead of the season. Or one way I like to use this is find some teams that might be favored in the sportsbook markets that do not nearly have as good of a probability of actually winning the Super Bowl as the sportsbooks might indicate that they do. The Kansas City Chiefs, who congrats to Travis Kelce, but only an 8.8 probability, 8% probability, that the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. That's the fourth best odds. They're not valued that way at the sports books. So, Dave, what stands out to you here from our first look at the Super Bowl futures?
I mean, you just said it, the Chiefs, 8.8%. That's still pretty solid. That's a top five, but they are outside that top spot for the first time in Dimer's existence in the Mahomes era. So, certainly something to monitor. I can tease it, but some stuff around the AFC West and some possible changing of the guard there will come up later on in the show. The Ravens, honestly, it's chalky as it comes, but that's probably my pick this year. They have some trouble getting it done at the end of the season in the playoffs. I feel like we don't see the A+ Lamar in the playoffs. We get a lot of B Lamar, not failure levels or anything, but he's kind of been a roadblock for them a bit getting it done. But I mean, come on, why not? If the Chiefs are falling behind the Bengals, they were just there a few years ago and haven't gotten any better. The AFC is prime for the taking for the Ravens. Bills, I think appropriately, the second team. Kind of going back to what you said about the futures odds earlier, this is a good case of why it's very important to get the best odds on your futures. The Bills are favored at plus 600 on some books. You can get them at plus 800, I think the longest that I've seen. And, minus 150, minus 130, that's a big difference on a daily bet, but 200 in a futures is huge. You don't want to be taking a futures bet where you're giving up that much, especially like you said, if you're going to hedge, you're 40 to 1 Tigers and come out with 20 to 1. You don't want to be leaving that hedge gap on the table with those early bets. So definitely shop around if you're getting it. If you're going to take a favorite, make sure you're getting their best price. Eagles, I mean, come on. How can you argue with the reigning Super Bowl champion? Bringing back some fandom here, but as a Cowboys fan, I went through much pain last year watching this happen. However, you can't deny the greatness. They're very good. Saquon Barkley is a freak. So, they're certainly as much of a threat as anybody. But notably not the favorite, according to Dimers.
Yeah, which I think a lot of people would not expect. According to sportsbooks, them and the Ravens, both 7 to 1 is the best odds that you can get. The nice thing that I love about this futures model too, I have it up on my laptop right in front of me right now, but it will tell you which sportsbook has the best odds. So just going through the best teams sorted in terms of probability of winning the Super Bowl, like the best odds for the Ravens at 7 to 1, FanDuel Sportsbook. The best odds for the Bills at 8 to 1, Bet Rivers. The best odds for the Eagles, 7 to 1, MGM. And then the Chiefs and the Lions, both at 8%. DraftKings has the best odds. So it kind of takes the task of shopping lines around and sorting through apps away from your responsibility is better, and just makes it really easy to do it all in one place. And it can't be easier than just following the data and finding the spots that feel best to you. Let's look outside that group of 5, because I feel like there's a top tier of Ravens, Bills, and Eagles, and then there's a second tier in terms of probability of Chiefs and Lions. And if you were sorting through that, I would make the case for my Detroit Lions that very similar, both them and the Chiefs with an 8% probability of winning the Super Bowl. But the best odds you can get for Kansas City, plus 850. The best odds you can get for Detroit, 14-1. But let's look outside that group of 5. Give me a team that is not a top 5 favorite here that you think has some value as a long shot.
If you told me 2 years ago that I would be picking the San Francisco 49ers as not a top 5 favorite and a long shot to win the Super Bowl, I would probably ask you to slap me. But coming off of their season last year, it's understandable. Some people may think their window's closed, or at least closing rapidly, but a team with a Super Bowl window that's closing doesn't give Brock Purdy a $250 whatever it was $1 million contract. They should be healthy at least come the first month of the season. Brandon Ayuk's going to start off slow. Christian McCaffrey, I guess you kind of never know what you're getting. I have not ended up with him in a single fantasy draft, so I'm sure he will be very good this year. That's basically the kiss of death, is if I take a projected top guy in fantasy, you could pretty much kiss his season goodbye. So anyway, 49ers, 6.0%. That's fair odds of about plus 1,600, which already is a crazy price, in my opinion, for a team with this much upside. But plus 2,000 on BetMGM. That's plus 400 difference in the odds. If you put $10 on this, that's a $40 difference on your payout. If they start well, as I expect, as I think the Dimers model expects, as 49ers fans and the team expects, they won't be plus 2,000 for long.
Yep. And that's a great point too. As you approach betting futures, a hot start really matters, because if you are looking for hedge opportunities and where you can jump in and as the markets move, quite frankly, you've got to have a hot start. You can't start 0-3 and get any value on your futures bet. So make sure you're checking schedules too, and trying to find spots in the season that are the right moment in time to jump in on some of these futures.